Hello, I'm Denise Pratt. Welcome to Table Talk Unplugged. It's a show produced by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education, Technical and Vocational Training. Here we feature key education stakeholders as we discuss issues that are critical to the academic sector. Today, we speak with our Minister of Education, the Hon Glenys Hanna Martin, about the way forward for education policy, particularly as our country prepares to celebrate 50 years as an independent nation. Minister Hanna Martin will update us on the programs and initiatives that are being carried out to enhance the quality of education throughout our country. Welcome, Minister.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here on this auspicious occasion, 50 years.
Yes, indeed. And it's a pleasure to have you on this program, on this Independence at Table Talk Unplugged program.
Yes.
I want to get right into it. We have had, my first question really centers around the Find Every Child initiative. And we know that that initiative was put in place because we had a fall in attendance after the COVID-19 pandemic. Can you please update us on how that came about and what has been happening with that program?
Well, it really came about when we were looking at the platform, the LMS platform, when instruction was being delivered virtually. And we noted that there were many children not ever signing on, or signing on infrequently, or signing on and not staying on. And so that meant absenteeism for an extended period of time. It caused a great deal of concern, and so we decided that we needed to find out who these children were and where are they. And so we did two things. We did a survey with the Department of Statistics to ascertain, the reasons why people were not signing on. And they gave us the information, the scientific data, which helped to inform future policies. And secondly, we did it in a very old-fashioned way. Throughout the nation, teachers, principals, support staff, community stakeholders, the police, social services, hit the ground. They went door to door. They went looking for children. And in one particular community, they found on that occasion 60 children who had not been attending. But this has now morphed into something more fundamental, because what we're finding, and this has been carrying on, this has been the issue for many years. We've always had levels of absenteeism. We've determined we're not going to accept any level unless there are legitimate reasons. But every child needs to be in a classroom because it is the one chance for them to really develop themselves fully. But we've discovered that throughout the years, children have been dropping out around 15 years of age, 14. And, we made a determination that we're going to track every absent child. And one of the reasons that this has become even more poignant for us is the other day, a 17-year-old was killed. And I asked them to tell me what school he was in, or et cetera. We found he'd been out of school for about 2 years. And he ended up in a very terrible place. It's a tragedy, and it's not acceptable. So we have determined that every child is valuable and must be in a classroom where that is pragmatic or practical, unless they have other issues like special needs, etc., and that they're able to have the benefit and the advantage of a human development process, which is education. And where there are challenges, whether with that child, whether in the home, whether in the community, we have to track that. So we made a determination. We are going to find every child.
Excellent. And I know that you've been saying consistently, every child counts.
Yes.
And that has been your landmark motto.
Yes.
I want to talk about assessments. I know that the ministry has engaged a company called the Renaissance to carry out testing, to find where our children are. How has that program been coming along?
Well, what we're finding in the Bahamas and what the global research is showing, the children hardest hit come from economically challenged communities. These children already come from very challenging situations, and they've been further challenged by this whole issue of learning loss, the virtual reality, etc. And so we made a determination that some have done well. Let me just say, some children have done very well in the virtual reality, but a lot of children did not cope well. And there has been this phenomenon of learning loss, which is a global phenomenon, not just the Bahamas. And so we determined that we, first of all, needed to assess the extent of it, which is what we've done. We've tested almost every child in the school system. There are a few that have not been tested, and they're chasing that to see where these children, why haven't they done it? So we've made assessments to the status of children in terms of where the expectation is they should be and where they actually are. And as a result now, we have been implementing remediation or acceleration programs for these children. We've tested them twice already, and during the summer, there's going to be reinforced remediation. And then in the new school year, we're going to become really aggressive with ensuring, because this is not an overnight thing, you do it for 2 hours and you remediate. It doesn't work that way. So we have to have a consistent and sustained and intense program which allows children to catch up and keep flying. So that is, the Renaissance Company has assisted us with that. And it's been very effective because we now have statistics. We have to have data. You can pull it out the air, but once you have data, you understand precisely what you're dealing with. The other good thing about this testing, we now understand the status of every individual child. So now we're able to individually respond to each child. And so, I think it's been a very effective program, but it's a work in progress because it's going to take a while. But we're not going to give up. We've made a determination, whatever it takes, what are the resources, we're going to tap into the community, whatever it is, Corporate Bahamas, Rotary, we are going to ensure that children are able to recapture any sort of loss or recapture the gains that they probably would have had were it not for COVID-19.
You mentioned something when you talked about some of the children have not been tested. And of course, you need to investigate why that has not happened. But I wanted to find out, what has the attendance rate been like? Since I know you've done the walkabouts, you've reached out to the parents, you reached out to the churches to assist, to go into the communities that were hard hit after COVID. What now are we looking at in terms of numbers in our schools?
I think that the rebound has been phenomenal. Phenomenal. And we have, one of the schools that we went to was the lowest attendance. It's a primary school. And in the latest statistics that we got, we've worked in the Office of the Prime Minister, has assisted us with the data. The latest statistics shows that school is amongst the top, the highest performing in attendance, because we were intentional and because it came down. I mean, it was the ministry, it was the district superintendent, it was the principal, it was the teachers, it was the guidance counselor, it was the Ministry of Social Services, the Royal Bahamas Police Force. There was an intentional effort to ensure children attend school, because everything shows the benefit of a child being in a classroom. I mean, it's multiplied over and over. And so we are now finding really extremely high attendance rates across the board nationwide.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, Minister, I'm told that we have to take a break now, and that time went by really quickly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Table Talk Unplugged as we speak with our Minister of Education about the way forward for education policy here in the Bahamas. We will be right back.
Education and learning are so very important. This is why schools should always be a safe place. Many say that being picked on or teased is just a part of growing up, that everyone goes through it and it is no big deal, and you should just toughen up. Yes, many people were picked on and made fun of, but that does not make it right or okay. Bullying is behavior that is purposely intended to hurt, embarrass, or exclude someone, and can be physical harm, verbal abuse, or public social rejection. As an advocate for all students, I want you to know that you have the power to take a stand and stamp out bullying in our schools. Parents, if your child reports being bullied, reach out to the school to ensure positive resolutions. If you are being bullied or know about bullying, I am asking you, begging you to help your school counselors to decrease the incidences of bullying on our campuses. Working together, We can put an end to this. We want all of our students in school, so let's keep it safe.
Hi, my name is Kanai Davis. I'm a 9th grade student at SEO5 First in Junior High School. I'm not a straight A student, but I will not give up on my goal of obtaining my high school diploma and graduating in the next few years. And you shouldn't either. Your dreams matter, your goals matter, and getting a good education will make that possible. Always remember, the race is not for the swift, but those who endure to the end, stay in school, and always put your best foot forward.
Welcome back. We are speaking with Minister Hanna Martin about the way forward for education policy here in our country. Welcome back, Minister.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so I am going to talk about the Bahamas High School Diploma. We know that you launched a review of the diploma, and there was a commission that was put together, and the commission has now returned with findings that have been implemented.
Yes.
Can you please tell us, first of all, why you decided to put in place this review, and what are the findings?
Well, let me just say that I am really pleased about the work of that commission because they went nationwide. And education is a community concern. And the effect of what they did was to go throughout the country in every island in the nation. And they met with parents, they met with teachers, they met with community participants, met with students. And so they were able to get feedback from the nation on education, which I think that in itself was a critical exercise. But when I first took office, I heard a lot of concerns, and most of it came from educators. Some came from parents, and some came from students. And, but mostly educators about I would call the anomalies associated with the high school diploma. And so we wanted to, and also we saw that about half the school population was just not meeting the mark. And I just want to understand what were the dynamics. And so the commission was appointed, they moved through the nation, and out of that they made recommendations. And those recommendations have been accepted in almost totally. And our graduation rates have gone up incrementally. I don't have the statistics yet, but we know that those changes, it was not a lowering of a standard or anything of that nature. It was just some tweaking of some things that, it was found, for example, there were some contradictions, there were some duplications, there were some double obligations for the same thing, which were not necessarily fair or necessary. And then there was some modifications of some other areas. And out of that, you basically have the same construct, but the tweaking allowed for more and more children who are talented, gifted, to be able to access the high school diploma. And some of the things we moved away, for example, you had to have 4 BJCs, that's still the case, you still need 4 BJCs. Under the old system, it was English, math, social science, natural science. Under this new regime, English and math, fundamental subjects, but any other 2 subjects at BJC level. It could be French, Spanish, whatever it is. And there's a whole range of BJCs. And we did that because children are motivated differently, and their passions are different. And so there's no one passion, or there's no prototype of a person. And so you have a standard. You say 4 BJCs, okay, you'll have your 4 BJCs, but allow the student to have the 2 fundamentals, math and English, but also allow that student to go and do art, or to go and do economics, or whatever. Economics is not available. Whatever BJC there is, let them do that. They still meet the 4 BJC standard. And there were some other modifications, but the result of this tweaking has allowed more and more and more young people to access the high school diploma. It builds confidence, and it allows our young people to go out there and go to the next stage of their lives. And so, this was not a reduction in standard. I heard some conversation. I haven't heard much of that now, But it's the same standard, but just some tweaking. And it has had an incredible result in allowing more and more children to attain the high school diploma.
Yes, because I know that by expanding the provision of the BJC requirements,
Yes.
you can have students who may be more inclined in the technical areas.
That's right.
to-
That's another thing. That's a very critical point you just raised, because a lot of children are technically inclined. And so what this new regime allows is that ultimately even an equivalency, not a BJC, but the equivalent through NACOB of a BJC, but a certification in a technical area can substitute for one of the BJCs. So you've now broadened the ability of a child to be able to tap into their talents and their strengths. And these are all legitimate areas of human endeavor. These are not things that are not credible. So I think that this has been a really important intervention. But seriously, I think that more reform has to come, because I looked at other jurisdictions, and this whole concept of the 4 examinations, a lot of countries do not do that. I mean, for example, I looked at Canada. They allow credits over a 3-year period. So you accumulate. Under our system, it's the 4 BJCs when you take it. Now, you have a couple of years to keep taking it, if to get it. But I think the world is moving away from this one-stop examination in a room for 2 hours, and using other methodologies to assess a child's attainment and abilities. And I think ultimately more reform is necessary. But I think what has happened thus far has been important as a first step to more reform in the high school diploma.
Okay. I want to talk about our curriculum. I know that obviously instructional delivery is very important, and what we teach our children is very important, the content, that is. I know there has been some reforms to the curriculum, particularly from a historical point of view.
Yes,
and there are some others.
Yes.
Can you expand on those, please?
We're looking at the curriculum. There's been reform, but we're looking at it again with even more bold eyes than before. And one of the things, we're doing a couple of things. We are doing a pilot project, which is looking at how the creative arts integrate with the core subjects, and that is research, and that's now underway in 2 schools. But we're looking to see how we can enhance the creative arts in the curriculum. So children who are talented in music and dance and drama, whatever it is, that they're able, through the school curriculum, to really expound on their abilities. And let me just say, this year, a lot of children got tertiary education scholarships through music in our public high schools. I'll talk about that on another occasion. The other thing is athletics. We want to strengthen the after-school program and the physical education curriculum during school hours. And so, but we're looking even at the primary school level. A lot of teachers have opined that it's a very hefty curriculum for small children. And so that is currently under review. And then, of course, you mentioned the history. We've now in the process of completing a new history text for high school, for our children, and which can be adapted even for social studies or in primary schools or civics.
Yes.
And so out of that, we are seeking to really develop a sense of awareness and confidence, and also understanding the world around you. But there's more to come. I'm not at liberty to speak about it. But we are really seeking to modernize, to, like I say, be bold, so that out of the school process, we pull out of our young people their incredible gifts, their talents, their abilities, and be able, I ignite. I see the
Excellent.
curriculum as an igniting process for our young people, and that is work underway.
Excellent. Well, I'm told that we, again,
Okay.
on for another break. So thank you again for staying with us as you're watching Ed Table Talk Unplugged as we speak with our Education Minister, the Honorable Glenys Hanna Martin. Stay with us.
Life is a marathon, not a sprint, and high school is less than a quarter of that marathon journey. Make your years in high school count, even if you are only able to obtain a minimum grade to pass a class on exam. I don't always get the grades I want, but that never stops me from trying my best. What matters is that you always do your best and nothing less. So, the next time you feel like giving up on school because your best might not be good enough,
Keep going, because life is a marathon and school is less than a quarter of that journey.
School is like a bus ride. Just like any other ride, there are turns that make you slow down. Sometimes you run into potholes or roadblocks, and your driver has to take another route. Don't let that stop you from reaching your goals. Just keep going. If your bus breaks down on your ride, just keep going. You're going to get to your destination. Even if it's hard, go to school, or even if you feel like it, or if you think your goals are too far away, don't stop. Just keep going.
Welcome back to our final segment of Ed Table Talk Unplugged with our Minister of Education, the Honorable Glenys Hanna Martin. Well, Minister,
Yes.
my next question centers around your meetings with our stakeholders,
Yes.
particularly our parents. I know you've had a number of meetings with them.
Yes.
And I want you to share a bit with us some of the concerns that they may have had.
Well, you know, I've met with teachers, I've met with school boards, I've met with administrators, I've met with guidance counselors, I've met with parents. I was at a graduation yesterday, and these are little children, private school, private graduation, and you know, I was just admonishing parents with a certain thing, and then I said to them, you know, that in some schools, in some instances, parents don't collect report cards, and on saying that, I had a pang, because it felt like a kind of neglect of that child. And so I want to meet with parents to see what their concerns were, what their issues are, and also to see how, even with the PTAs, how we can cause for greater participation, a deeper embracement of the child's education, so that that child is able to excel. Because the parent, the home thing is the most critical environment, and then there is the school. And so we met with parents. They, you know, they are, we met with them on the GLAD exams. We met with them with the PTAs. And they, of course, they have a very deep concern about, or interest in the well-being of their children. And, but you know, and we agreed with the things that they shared. They talk about physical conditions, teacher shortages, and these are the things that we understand are severe issues that have to be addressed. But I wanted, the primary purpose, one was to hear from them, and secondly, to see how we can cause for more broad-based participation or engagement of parents nationwide. And we, you know, this year we had very high rate of report card collection. I felt very pleased. Yes, nationally, very, very good. It was high. And so I feel like some progress is being made. But I think it's important for parents to understand, you know, you're not necessarily going to understand what the child is learning, you know, math and all that. I can't help you either with some of this new stuff that they're doing. But the simple thing of monitoring, encouraging, accountability, and you know, and just general support of the child is very, very, very important. Because I always tell parents, when you are off the scene, and you will be, because we all will be, you want your child, who you brought into this world, to be able to be strong, to be able to be successful in their own reality, and to be able to withstand the wilds of a crazy world, and to do well. And so the parent is key in that. And so we have been actively, and we're going to continue, bringing in parents, working with them, letting them help us with learning loss, and whatever the issues are. They are our partners in this, and we are engaging them fully.
Now, you've also met with our campus staff members, guidance counselors, the principals, the teachers. And this is a question I have for you in terms of what is the message you want to send to them? These are the stakeholders.
Well, initially I met with them virtually, and I met with teachers everywhere nationwide, thousands virtually. But we now been going to schools physically, and I have been to close to maybe more than 100 schools nationwide, and we're continuing. The summer break has slowed us down. But I wanted to go nationwide to see the children, to meet the teachers, to interact with the administrators, to see our support staff, our security, our janitorial, our administrative staff, and to get a sense of what's happening in every school. Every school is different. Each has its own brilliance and beauty, and it has allowed me to have a deeper insight into the tremendous engagement of these individuals in the education, advancement of education of our children, particularly during this learning loss thing. What we've seen in these schools has been just incredible. They were able, with limited resources, to ensure the testing took place. They're able to, I mean, even how they manage the breaks to ensure the remediation takes place. It has been beyond the call. And I spoke in Parliament the other day, and I've encouraged communities, wherever you have school in your community, and S.C. McPherson, R.M. Bailey, and his Teacher Appreciation Day, show them teachers some love on that day, wherever your schools are. I don't know how you do it. I mean, send flowers. I don't know how you could do it. Or just say thank you, show appreciation, because what they are doing for this nation is so incredible. And this has been such an insight, particularly during the learning loss period. So the message I want to get to them, to get back to that question, is what you do is not just important, it's critical, that you are valued as a stakeholder, that our children are invaluable to the future of our people, and that we will work with you to see how we can find the right formula for our children to excel and do well. And so we did the teacher morale, we did a survey, we tried to understand the issues that affect teachers and how to respond to those things. We still have a lot of work to do. The bureaucracy is always challenging, we're working on that. But we don't want a teacher in the field to believe that us here up in this building don't have a strong appreciation of what it is they're doing. And we don't want them frustrated by 101 issues in HR or accounts or the ministry itself or the public service in general with reassessments, reclassifications, yes, promotions, etc. We want to take those off the table so they are smoothly and unfolding. So I'm very grateful as a citizen of this nation to the educators of this country, and also those who work in the Ministry of Education. They are hardworking. They go beyond the call of duty, and what they give is not reflected in any remuneration. They do it because they love the country and they understand the meaning of education. It's very important for the country to understand that.
Well, thank you so much, Minister, and I'm
Thank
glad
you.
we were able to end on that note of you encouraging our instructors, because instructional delivery is the whole reason why we're here.
Yes.
So thank you. Well, you've been watching Ed Table Talk Unplugged. Now, if you'd like to receive updates on what's happening at the Education Ministry, visit our website or other social media platforms. Well, that's all for now. I am Denise Pratt. Happy Independence, Bahamas.